Kevin's attorney says Jodi obviously has the resources, has the real estate assets, has the financial accounts and other personal property, and that could be used to pay for the children's care.
So in my last video, we learned that Jodi Hildebrandt had put her house up for sale for $5.3 million, which is an obscene amount. We saw pictures of this house. We saw it was a very luxurious, very, very large property. And the stark contrast between, the luxurious elements of this home versus the mysterious room, the lock on the outside. Many people say that it was a safe room. And, I would be inclined to believe that, or, it could be a bunker of some description. It's quite up in the air, and I know that many have differing opinions on it. But one of the questions that had to be asked was, why is she selling this now? Is she selling it for legal fees? Is she wanting to liquidate assets? Is she wanting to stow money away? And of course, myself and many other people firmly in the camp of this money should be going to the children. This should be going straight to the children who have been affected. And Kevin Franke thinks so as well. So really quite interestingly, Kevin Franke has actually put forward a court filing, or his lawyer has. What they're asking for, they're asking the court for restitution and to stop the sale of Jodi Hildebrandt's home, which is a very big power move. And their reasoning for this is that they want the money to go directly to specifically the two children who have undergone treatment and are currently undergoing mental health treatment as well. Now, in this kind of setting, based on my knowledge, restitution would be basically compensation for the two children. So Jodi Hildebrandt's house, worth $5.3 million. Kevin Franke would like that back in restitution. He would like that back as compensation for what Jodi Hildebrandt inflicted and what, Ruby inflicted on his two children. Now, whether or not he'd even receive that full amount, which is a very, very, very large amount, who knows? I'm not a legal head, so I couldn't possibly say. So if anyone wants to chime in the comment section, you are more than welcome to do so. But let's just read a little bit of the court filing that was put forward, because this reveals some really key details. So once again, he is using Randy S. Kester, who has been Kevin's attorney throughout this whole period. Goes on to say, I am counsel for Kevin Franke in the motion for victim relief and for writ of attachment and for temporary restraining order. I have forwarded these materials to defendant's counsel in an attempt to avoid seeking an audience with the court. I have spoken to Mr. Terry and we did not reach a resolution on this matter. He indicated that Mr. Dunn and his office would be handling this matter. I advised defendant's counsel of my intent to seek a writ of attachment and temporary restraining order to restrain defendant from hiding, transferring, concealing, selling, or otherwise adversely affecting the value of assets held by the defendant in anticipation of the victim's claim of restitution. I have set forth in the verified motion the risk that exists in said assets being liquidated, transferred, hidden, or concealed. So this seems to me like they have anticipated the fact that this could be what's going to be happening if that house is sold, that Jodi Hildebrandt could liquidate and hide and, stow things away. And then it goes on to basically say that they are wanting to file for a restraining order because, of course, this is now going to become knowledge, and they don't want Jodi Hildebrandt to act whilst this order is being put into motion. In regards for the argument of wanting this order put through, it says the children have undergone medical care and have been subjected to psychological assessments and ongoing mental health treatment in an attempt to assist them in comprehending and recovering from injuries. The children remain in professional care for the aggravated psychological and emotional injuries suffered. It is clear and admitted that the children suffered immediate and continuing irreparable harm as a result of the crimes perpetrated upon them by this defendant. They then go on to say that this level of treatment will extend beyond the sentencing and likely for many years after. It reads, the cost for this ongoing critical professional help will fall upon the children and their father, and they'll say that the victims and family would basically have to pay for their own treatment for the injuries caused by the defendant, which would obviously be a hell of a lot of money. Like, can you imagine the amount of money that would be costing? It would be costing a lot. It then reads, more importantly, the defendant presently has resources from which this restitution could be funded, but such may not soon be the case, in that the resources may be liquidated and unavailable for access should the court fail to immediately delay or prevent said liquidation or transfer. And this is one of the things that a lot of people were thinking as well, that what a time, you know what I mean? What a time to be putting your house up for sale. I mean, presumably she wouldn't actually be able to like carry on with a mortgage and all of that, but then wouldn't you then have someone on the outside who could handle those affairs for you? It is possible, but of course she wouldn't be working. So anyway, it's all financial mumbo jumbo to me. But at the end of the day, she is literally out here selling a house, and those kids need to be reimbursed. Their treatment needs to be reimbursed. They need to be compensated for the crap that they have been put through. And if there's even a slight inkling that Jodi is, planning on hiding, concealing, liquidating any of this money, then surely it needs to be prevented. I mean, for all we know, that may not have been her plan. But I won't lie to you guys right now, I am pretty 98% convinced that it was. It was. I don't know. Allegedly. I don't want to be in trouble, whatever, but I reckon she's been caught in the act, They go on and say, under the Crime Victims Restitution Act, these child victims are entitled to restitution, which will compensate for these injuries by way of defendant providing restitution for any and all ongoing treatment of these injuries. The defendant has assets and resources sufficient to assist in the payment of this restitution in the form of real estate, financial accounts, and other personal property. Yeah, I mean, Jodi seems like the kind of gal that would have a lot of money stowed away, if you get what I mean, just allegedly. But yeah, she definitely seems like the type that has a boatload of money just scattered about. Okay, so a bit of information on the property. It says this property has not been taken for a tax assessment or fine. To petitioner's knowledge, this property has not been seized under a writ against the property of the defendant, or that it is exempt from seizure. Except for any existing mortgage, to petitioner's knowledge, no other person or entity claims an interest in said property. The listing for sale of the home has as a listing price $5.1 million. I thought it was 5.3, or has it changed, or are they just looking at it from a different angle? Please let me know. But they do go on to say that without knowledge of the existing mortgage, they're not aware of the exact amount of money that they're actually going to be making from it. Now, really interestingly, just to clear up a point that I made earlier, so Randy and Kevin presumably believe that Jodi Hildebrandt has already been going through the steps to try and conceal any assets. They think that this is what she's going to do. It reads, it is obvious that the defendant is in the process of assigning, disposing of, or concealing the property with the intent to defraud the victim creditors, in that there is probable cause of losing the remedy of restitution unless the court issues the writ and or the temporary restraining order. If the court failed to issue the writ and restraining order, there is a substantial likelihood that the victim's remedy for restitution will be lost. Yeah, because they're sort of preempting this in the fact that this may actually be her very calculated move. And at the end of the day, these kids are entitled to restitution. They are entitled to this money back. How much of the money back? I honestly have absolutely no idea. But, if this is Jodi's really calculated move, then that is obviously just disgusting. But nothing about her surprises me anymore. And yeah, maybe she's just wanting to wash her hands of it and just try and get this money as quick as possible, just to try and get rid of it. You also have to think about the amount of legal fees as well that obviously Kevin Franke has had to pay in all of this. He would have had to pay a hell of a lot. Now, I know a lot of people have extremely conflicting opinions on Kevin Franke. I do believe that he has said and done some very strange things during this whole process. Do not get me wrong, I definitely do. But I do think that him fighting for the money from the house to be able to give back to his children is ultimately the best thing. And I'm sure a lot of us can agree on that. I'm sure there are going to be some people that are going to be saying, well, he wants the money all to himself. I don't think so. And that's just my own personal feelings on the matter. At the end of the day, like, no amount of money is going to take away what this has done. However, the money that could be going to the kids through, you know, assets that Jodi has would go towards, and hopefully will go towards, you know, their medical care and their treatments and just trying to get them on the right path. So, you know, it would be obviously the best thing for them, but no amount of money can take this one away. However, if they are entitled to it, then they should be fighting tooth and nail to get it, and I think that's a really big move on Kevin Franke's part. Now, I would love to hear everyone's thoughts and feelings on this. I hope you guys have a wonderful day wherever you are in this world. Take care of each other, take care of yourselves, and I'll catch up with you guys in the next video.